Hello, Smartereumers. Welcome to the fourth edition of Blockchain Smarts, where we talk to the smartest minds behind the most interesting projects in the blockchain world. My name is Mahesh Sachapal. I'm the co-founder of Smartereum, and our guest today is Igor Khmel, CEO of BankEx. Hi, Igor. Thanks for joining, and welcome to Smartereum TV. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Igor Khmel. I'm the founder of BankEx, which is a blockchain protocol for creating security tokens and basically Securitization 2.0. I used to run the innovation lab at Sberbank, the biggest bank in Europe, before making big BankEx. Then I worked for McKinsey. I worked for Citadel hedge fund in Chicago. I graduated from Stanford Business School. Right now I'm Stanford T-shirt, so you can see that.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I had degree in physics. I have degree in journalism. I have degree in economics and MBA from Stanford.
Wow.
So I have like a pretty solid corporate background, and basically my difference from many others, like in the industry, that is I'm kind of the guy that can raise money in the United States, in Silicon Valley. They can understand the capital markets, and they can bring companies to initial public offerings and make very kind of enterprise story. So my strength is, and that's why the company focus is enterprise blockchain, and we are mostly doing this for financial companies who need to get access to blockchain technologies to do the same stuff that they're doing, but with the current technologies.
So I was looking at your website, and it says BankEx wants to be the operating system for capital markets. So what does that mean? What problem are you trying to solve here?
Yeah, so if you think about the capital markets and like in general, if you are not even from this business, but if you think about their securities that you see in the newspapers, that you listen to the TV. So there is like, you already hear about mortgage bonds, you will probably hear about real estate investment trusts, securitization of auto loans, credit card receivables, some collateral. So you're hearing about like some limited amount of assets. So you think about your world where you live and what type of things around you, you understand that the things that really exist as a liquid instrument on capital market, they are so small versus the full universe. That is basically, it means that there is only like few things the global capital market created like a standardized and liquid. So for liquidity, any asset and cash flow should be taken as standardized. It should be standardized and should be many similar things. And that's why real estate is one of the popular assets, because it's very easy to standardize. But for instance, the movie, it's already not the asset, like for the capital market, because it's quite difficult to really make different movies looks the same. And there are many things like that. There is like music that is not really standardized. There is some just people who are entering the building, which is like really the asset, the traffic, the people traffic. So the people like you can buy traffic in the internet, but you not really. It's not easy to buy traffic online. And if you have traffic, why you cannot just get money for the future traffic? You have like shop, and where many people going back and forth in the subway, for instance. So potentially you own the asset. So like any kind of ecosystem that has social capital and anything that just can be basically that can create value if the people start to pay tokens each other, it's a potential asset creation. So we are in the business of creating these new assets, and we have like two leverages here. One of them is we're decreasing the cost of the lawyers. So we're making these things from regulation perspective cheaper and easier to do. We automate like Reg D, Reg A plus issuance. Yes. And second one, we can work with many decentralized assets. So we not expect that somebody has all the assets together to have the portfolio. So, but we can work with decentralized portfolio when many owners owns different parts of them. So altogether, this brings us like decentralized securitization.
Okay. You also talked about banking as a service, which I've been hearing about it for a couple of years. So, what is BankEx version of that, and how does blockchain fit in all of that?
BankEx as a service, it's a popular concept. I got familiar with that when I used to work as Sberbank, and so I'm already in fintech for about 8 or 10 years,
Okay.
and I started from consulting the BVA, a Spanish bank, then worked for Sberbank, and I was judged on the EFMA Innovation Awards, internal awards for 3,000 banks. So the best, the most innovative banks, they provide their innovations, and I was one of the 30 judges there globally.
Huh.
And what I found that is basically most banks, they when they're thinking about innovations, the cycle of integration of any kind of initiative, it takes about 1 year in the bank. And it's very difficult for them to change because they have very capital intense backend system. They have like a lot of restrictions especially from the Basel, from risk capital coverage and all that. And so they have a lot of committee, a lot of bureaucracy because of this thing, because they have a lot of risk with their license. So for all these reasons, it's much easier for banks to innovate and to integrate with the new incumbents, with newcomers, if they have the open platform with API. So this bank as a service means that when the part of the banking business is executed by a third party, by somebody who is not within the bank. It's like when you open your web page and you click the link, it means that the link, the picture that you see, it's hosted not on this web page, it's hosted somewhere else.
Right. Okay.
And this is the same as bank as a service. So, and this is the concept that was born, like as far as I know, in Germany. One of the companies that I very respect a lot is named Fidor Bank, that's created this concept, and that is like a platform as a bank as a service. Then there is other German Solaris Bank. Solaris is like kind of IT company with a banking license, so any e-commerce can build their product on top of Solaris. So in general, Europe has a big traditions of that. UK with the recent PSD2 directive where the bank's supposed to share the information. If the clients want, the bank should share his information about credit cards data. So this also kind of a good source for bank as a service model. So third-party applications can be built on top of data. So this is cool thing that is basically make the banks modern. Otherwise, any bank that's more longer than 10 years old, so most of them, it's outdated. It's outdated. So if the system more than 10 years old, it's done. So it already becomes like less competitive, more outdated. And they seriously warning the United States of Amazon because companies like Amazon, Google, and Facebook, they can disrupt them. And this is a problem. Like in Europe, this is Revolut. One of my classmates is a founder of Revolut from my economics school. It's my degree. Another my classmate from my Stanford degree built a new bank in Brazil, which raised like $500 million.
Wow.
So it's like you see like just people around me like on my different schools they're disrupting this financial world with like billion companies and so it's a real risk for the banks and but my perspective to help them, not to destroy them, but evolution instead of revolution. So we're here to help them. And blockchain gives the opportunity to build the most standardized API. The problem with banks that is they're very bad in talking to each other. So they cannot really negotiate what is going to be a standard. And this was the problem why the bank as a service was not going like so wide, was not adopted globally. And blockchain changed that since they started to kind of respect one standard. This is blockchain. That's why 2 years ago we switched from bank as a service API, REST API to blockchain. So this is, I believe, I'm strong believer, this is the API that will really work for banks.
Okay, just to clarify, you're not looking to replace banks. You're going to be a service for existing banks.
We wanna be like IBM, like Microsoft, and we partnered with these guys like Consensus blockchain, the biggest blockchain company you know. So we want to provide enterprise services and especially enterprise products. So those standards. So we're creating like capital TCP/IP for capital markets. So we want different asset owners understand each other and capital markets investors understand asset owners.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the BankEx blockchain technology itself. So obviously we know, blockchain has scalability issues. So how will your technology scale to where it can handle the tens of thousands of transactions per second that are required in banking applications?
Yeah. So first of all, BankEx is not a separate blockchain. We're staying blockchain agnostic. Right now, like 90% of our contracts built on top of Ethereum. And we choose Ethereum because it's got the most adoption and traction in the banking world.
Right.
So most of the financial organizations in the world, when they talk about blockchain, they mean Ethereum. And they did this because of escrow, because of many things. Well, for payments, they often use Ripple, but for capital markets and for escrow and for trading finance, they usually use Ethereum. And in Ethereum, it's true there is scalability issue, which is with amount of limited number of transactions. And if you saw any kind of token sales or recent CryptoKitties, so Ethereum was going down.
Right.
So because of that, I basically personally met a couple of times with Alec Buterin, and we proposed him. I proposed him to help and to develop the Plasma. So Plasma is one of the ways to scale, and we are interested to participate in Plasma pilots and development because it solves our problem as well. So after that, we can deliver to banks and to any organization scalable solutions, and we were quite successful in that. So as far as I know, we're like one of the first guys who reached in the market 5,000 transactions per second. Our record was last year, and our recent achievement is 22,000 transactions per second.
Oh wow!
Basically, it covers all we need. We don't need more. We don't do payments. We don't do transactions. Usually, it's any peaks that we have in our systems. So right now we are less about speed. We are more about reliability. So we're thinking about reliability and stability of the system. Cool. So, and we consider to launch this as soon as it will be ready. So sometime like end of this year, we consider to launch Light Plasma Enterprise. And like February, March, next year, Plasma Enterprise is a service. It means that the people, the banks, the financial organization, anybody who enterprise who wants to run their smart contracts on Ethereum and have security issues, so they will be able to use our Plasma Enterprise for making this scalable and cheap.
Okay.
So this is how we solving the scalability issue. And in terms of like what is BankEx itself, so the core of BankEx is Proof of Work protocol, and Proof of Work protocol is it's basically the combination of about 15. This number is changing, so we continue to build that. Right now, it's 15 microservices. So this microservice architecture is like Lego. So we have like different elements. One is responsible for KYC, another one responsible for scan of the existing assets, then audit contracts, then there are service agent, wallet, hedging. So there is like number of these elements that we're bringing together for different clients depending on their needs in order to build the solution that they need. Usually they need KYC, they need to check who's the person who wanted to buy the institution. They need to check to prove that there is the asset, so they need some audit on the scan. They need to tokenize, issue the token. So all these are different pieces together. So this is our core, and then we use it in order to build more complex products. So one of the recent one is custody. So custody, it's we built this crypto custody to keep most popular currencies as well as C20 tokens, and it will be right now it's free and it will stay for free for consumers. So we're gonna continue to do this for free for consumers as soon as they have like 5% of their assets in our coin, and it will be licensed for enterprises. So this is the custody. And then we built end-to-end some asset classes, so you should probably saw as well, media token, movie coin.
Okay. You obviously have a truly impressive resume, both academic and professional, with the degrees that you mentioned from Russia, your MBA from Stanford, and of course you were leading Sberbank Digital Ventures. Tell us how and why you started BankEx. What's the origin story there?
Yeah, basically one of the reasons started because in Sberbank they didn't pay me the bonus for making the big company. I want to make money. I want to I enjoyed what I'm doing, but I wanted to get a credit for that.
Sure, of course.
So the initial idea was really to solve. I saw the big pain on the bank side and the kind of me and some misunderstanding on the startup side. I was frustrated with the level of startup that is like really do some some just make-ups on the bank. So they just improve some like interfaces, all that, but there are not so many companies who basically change the industry fundamentally. So I was I thought that this is like very ambitious and very kind of big reason to go and try to change this world. And it's the Stanford, probably now the Stanford Business School logo. Stanford impressed me a lot. It change life, change organization, change the world. And I was every time I was looking for something like that for the business or for some activity that can give me exposure to the whole world. And so the blockchain, together with this problem of improving, creating the new banking protocol, it's move me to the entrepreneurial role, and I started as Uberization for banks. So initially it started as like Uber for bank as a service. So our first product is a delivery of credit card to the customers with third-party couriers, and this product successfully we're developing in Russia, and we have right now about from 500 to 1,000 deliveries per day. We serve like about 15 banks with that, but it's just still old school service. We have like this interface on blockchain, we have this on REST API, and like traditional nobody is blockchain. So the banks are still they have a lot of tests, but they don't really to implement this in commercial version. So like this real stuff is working traditional technology, but all our major banking stuff which works on blockchain technology, it still takes time to make commercialization of that. So, but we are working on that.
Okay. BankEx has already raised over $70 million from a token sale. That's an accurate statement, right? To be precise, we made 72,000 Ether. Okay.
On the token sale, and we stayed basically we are converted them in Bitcoin, but we stayed in crypto. We are crypto believers.
Okay.
And developed some proprietary trading, so we managed our crypto, but basically we stayed there. So it's so like if you take the average exchange rates when the Bitcoin was down, all that, so it's probably going to be about $40 million.
Okay. Why do you think you were successful, and what advice do you have for others who are trying to raise money now?
The advice is just don't try to kind of beat the market with your model, but listen to the market, talk to people, and adapt. So it's much easier. I was not able to raise money like a traditional model. I'm not the kind of guy. I understand that I don't have like the same mentality as venture capitalists. My mentality is more like public markets, hedge funds, and that's why the token sales and like hedge fund investing. This was much easier for me to adapt and to create something that they will appreciate. instead of venture money. So like the people are different, the companies are different. So you just have to find your model and your audience.
All right. Well, thank you, Igor. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Good luck to you guys. I look forward to following your progress. That was Igor Khmel, founder and CEO of BankEx. This has been Smartereum TV with your host, Mahesh Sachatal. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.